Asinine Radio. This is the weekly music podcast where every week we get into a different band, different artist, and we break down one of their records. We get into the music, lyrics, how it was made, and everything in between. My name is Tyler, and way out there, hundreds of miles away, is Jeff. While you're listening, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. And that's all I have for the boring intro. So what are we doing this week, Jeff? Go.
We are doing Refused and their record, The Shape of Punk to Come.
Going to say the full title or?
A chimerical abomination in 12 bursts.
There you go. And that's the last time we're going to say that full title because it's stupid.
It's stupid as fuck.
So we're doing that this week. And the reason for this is because next week we are going to be seeing Refused on their final tour, their farewell tour. They are breaking up for the final time, supposedly. And yeah, we're seeing them. I'm going to be out in Arizona. So we decided to do Refused before we go. And then we're obviously going to talk about it after the show when we, on the next couple episodes. So, there you go. That's why we're doing it. We've done this record once before on a forgotten episode, long lost episode. You can't go back and listen to that anymore. So yeah, anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into our origin story with this band. We'll get into some bangers, stinkers, and everything else. So what do you got, Jeff? Origin story, go.
I never listened to Refused until at some point we either did them on the pod or you showed them to me, but
it was the pod.
I did like the International Noise Conspiracy, and that was, I think, the first song I heard from them was on the Punkorama 2001. Only numbers, only double. So I did enjoy them, and I did have that record. Well, I didn't have that. I downloaded the record from Kazaa, but I did have that record from 2000 or 2001, whatever the fuck it was. But I wasn't like a huge International Noise Conspiracy fan. But it was kind of interesting, too, because I remember as a kid listening to that band, I thought, like, man, this guy does not sound like he's from America. And I always thought that was
you were right.
A point of pride that I could tell that he's not American. Because he sang just a little bit fucking weird.
A little bit weird, yeah. A little bit different.
The sounds were just a little bit off. But yeah, I really have no history with Refused whatsoever, aside from doing this album again. I think the first time we did it too, I was even like, holy fuck, this is really good back when we did it. And even this week, I'm like, holy fuck, this is even better than it was back then. It got better with age.
Just like better.
Like a fine wine.
Yep.
I don't even drink wine. It's stupid.
Yeah, wine's not very good.
It's dumb. My
origin story is early high school. I'd say probably freshman year. I heard New Noise. Really, really loved New Noise. And then, I got into the record a little bit, but I wasn't really super into it until I met friend of the pod, Annie. I met her junior year of high school. I met her. She's a year older than us. And I remember we were all driving around in her car, and she either had a mix CD or she had on her like the OG iPod, the very first generation iPod, because she had one of those.
So cool.
She had New Noise and she had Worms, the first song on this record. I always forget the full name of the stupid song, but she had those 2 songs on it, and she played them. And I just remember thinking, damn, dude, this is so fucking cool. And Annie's so cool. Damn, Annie's really cool for liking this shit.
She's only a year older than us?
Yeah, she's only a year older.
Because, like, I don't know, she was always so much more mature than we were. So I always assumed she was like 5 years older than us.
I mean, it's true. She is much more mature than us. But yeah, no, Annie was the reason why I really kind of dove deeper into Refused and started to get into more, because I'm like, damn, dude, this is really fucking cool. Annie's really cool. Mind you, because I had only known Annie for a little bit at a time, so I thought she was still cool at the time, and she still thought I was kind of cool at the time. And then we eventually started to hate each other, and then our whole relationship has been we hate like each other. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like how our relationship is with Annie. We love her.
I still think Annie's exponentially cooler than that, for sure. You, like, absolutely. Like, I still think Annie's not lost like any kind of coolness.
No,
in the amount
she
of time
hasn't.
I've. In fact, she's like gained because she still tolerates like the fucking stupidity that is us.
That's true. She was our first listener on this podcast as well. Back when we started way back in 2016. But yeah, I know Annie's great. She's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she was the reason why I kind of really took a deeper dive into this band in probably 2003. Was when I took a deeper dive into the band, and yeah, I've been listening to him nonstop ever since. Got the documentary DVD when that came out in 2006, and just I've always loved this band. So that's my origin story.
Sticking to it.
Let's get into let's get into first impressions on Shape of Punk to Come. What do you got? Go.
You clap again?
I did clap.
There was a lot. Like it was a lot to get into this week.
Not really. It's 5 albums, but
this record's a lot, and this band is a lot. And I didn't even finish the documentary. I did like the first 10, and then I did the last like 20, just so I could watch like the end part of it, like the breakup of the infamous show. This band's a lot.
Yeah, this
band is a fucking lot. In the manifesto, and then
I forgot to read the manifesto again.
I don't know if you knew, but like on in the vinyl, I'm sure in the CD too. There's liner notes, and there's a fucking lot of liner notes.
Honestly, I didn't even read the liner notes. I have it on vinyl, and I didn't even read it.
I did a lot of work, and that's fine. And this is, I guess my first impression was I was overwhelmed. I was like, fuck, man, like how the fuck am I going to do this? But like the more I listened, the more I kind of read, the more I got into it. I was like, okay, I see what's happening. It's a concept album. It's something that they fucking do. They shot for the stars, man. They tried really, really, really hard, and it worked. I think everything worked. Everything worked.
It didn't work for them at the time because they broke up 2 months after
the album
came out.
That's not on them. That's on them. And this is another bone to pick that I have with Refused. Is they try so they're tryhards. They try so hard to think like they're this next revolution, this next like ushering in a different wave of punk music, which they 100% are, and they did.
True.
But when they didn't get the recognition, they threw a bitch fit. Like that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and they even talk about it in the documentary in 2006. They because I have that DVD, and when I watched it a couple days ago, and yeah, they flat out said that we went out on tour, we thought we were on top of the world, we thought we were invincible, and everybody would get what we were doing. They should have been, and that's what we thought. Our egos were huge, and the tour completely tanked.
That's exactly what it is. Like this record should have made them fucking huge. This record should have made them gods. And it didn't because punk was not ready for this at all. This is so fucking ahead of its time, and especially for punk music, even today, that it fucking flopped. And this was a joke to people back then. Like you can't mix EDM. You can't mix fucking trip hop with punk music. That's crazy. That's stupid. Nobody's going to fucking like that. That's not punk. Get the fuck out of here. And it devastated them. And they threw a bitch fit, and then they imploded, and they never were the same after.
No.
Even still to like this day, they've never been the same. It fucked. It's like the Pinkerton, right? Like it's that same concept. Like it fucked them to their core.
Yeah. Well, even now, like on the final tour, it's the only like original members are Dennis the singer and was it David? Who's the drummer? What fuck can't think of drummer?
Klaus or Von Klaus or fucking
Von Klaus.
Van Dyke.
David Sandstrom. Know. David Sandstrom is the drummer. But everybody else, it's just I think actually I take it back. One of the guitar players is still in the band. But yeah, in the end, it just this band imploded in '98, and they got back together in 2012 with that reunion, which was fucking really, really cool. But then the same guitar player, he just kind of gave up on the band again and took off. So a couple years later. But
who's that, George or Rupert?
Georgie boy. Yeah, he's a puppy. He's
out of control, just like his dad.
He's out of control.
Both of you out of control.
Clearly, yeah.
You buy way too many vinyl records.
I do not. And now Rupert's getting mad because George is having too much fun. So
Rupert's a dick, so he's always mad. So
wrong, but anyway. So if you hear growling, squeaking, that's what it is. My 2 dogs in this.
If you hear growling, it's Rupin. If you hear Rupin, if you hear squeaking, that's George having a good time.
Yeah, it's George having a good time. Yeah. Anyway. Oh my God.
There's Robin. See, I heard Robin.
So where were we at?
We were talking about how Refused are a bunch of whiny little crybaby bitches.
Yeah. So in the end, this record is ahead of its time. That's kind of my first impression too. This record was very ahead of its time, especially in the punk realm. Not very many bands were doing it this way. Nobody sounded like Refused in 1998 when this record came out. Nobody sounded like them. It came out late 1998, October 27th to be more exact. And what's crazy too is they played their final show on October 6th, 1998. This record came out 2.5 weeks later. So they didn't even there was no tour for this record. Like this record was not even out yet. And then
couldn't even last. And then couldn't even do it.
They announced their official breakup 2 months after the album came out, but they were already done at that point. Like when you watch the documentary and read about it, I mean, the band was on their last leg. Like they were having mental breakdowns while on tour here in the US at the time, and it was just a giant fucking shit show. And then to top it all off, they played their final show in Harrisonburg, Virginia, in somebody's basement. They got 4 songs into it. The cops showed up, shut the show down, turned off the power. And there's video of it too, like the cops coming up on stage and shit. And there's probably like 50 kids crammed in this fucking basement in Virginia,
just going nuts.
And then the fourth song, the last song they played that got cut off, was "Rather Be Dead." Like how it's like
and
mythical.
The lyric that got cut off before he started singing was like "Rather Be Alive."
Yeah,
because the contrast between the two, and that's what they cut him off before he could say that. And that's talk
something. About it's almost like it's unbelievable. Like the story is so unbelievable, but there's video of it. Like it literally happened. It's fun.
And again, like they never recovered from it.
No, never ever.
They never recovered.
They immediately
from
went back to Sweden, and they went their separate ways. I mean, Dennis and David, or why do I keep forgetting his fucking? I know his last name, Sandstrom. Why do I keep forgetting his first name? David, yeah, David Sandstrom. Him and Dennis, the singer, they went and did other bands outside of Refused. But yeah, just this band just completely died that day on October 6th, 1998.
Just when you have a bunch of people together that are trying so hard to be better, and their end goal is to like move not just music but like society in a direction that they think society should go in, and it's not happening as fast as they would have liked, then it's not going to last. Because even Discontent, like they had already started doing that. They had already started talking about their aggressive, like not just like leftist kind of like ideologies, but just their overall rail against capitalism and just society in general.
Yeah.
And it didn't catch. Like nobody fucking cared. Like that's not really what 90s punk was about. Like nobody really gave a fuck. And like punk was still in its infancy there, and it was still kind of stupid and still kind of just one dimensional, and Refused, again, just ahead of its time. Like if that shit would dropped if Discontent had dropped in like the late 90s, and then like Shape of Punk maybe like 2000, 2001, like this would be a different conversation. This would be a different story. I think they would have lasted much, much longer. But when punk is still coming up in the 90s and still just being very one-dimensional and very, very stupid, and it's for like the lower class kind of like dum-dums. This is too much.
Lower class dum-dums.
It is. It's for lower class dum-dums. Like 90s punk is just, I mean, we talked about the Written Law. Like this is that lower class dum-dum punk.
Yeah. God damn. So let's get into some more specifics here. Stinkers, do you have any?
No, I have 12 bangers.
Yeah, I have no stinkers either. I think they're all fucking bangers. They all belong. It is kind of a concept record. Like all the songs perfectly transition into one another. I mean, this is a perfectly sequenced record. It's not, but almost all the songs can be taken out of context and still be their own thing, their own entity, which is fucking amazing. I love it. So yeah, I got no stinkers. All right, so let's get into your number one banger, your 1B off of this record, The Shape of Punk to Come. So what do you got, Jeff? Go.
Are we going to talk about every song?
I mean, we could touch upon every song, but I mean, I kind of want to talk what we normally do, like our top 4 or 5 songs, and then kind of run through the rest of them.
Because so much of this is like relies on, like, I think they're set up beforehand, and there's kind of like remnants afterwards. I think this might be one of the ones we just go in order.
I mean, we could. That's fine. I'm fine doing that.
I've listed my bangers as such, and we can still do we get to it. This is my number, whatever. But I do think this kind of needs to go in order.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get into the first song, Worms of the Senses, Faculties of the Skull. The first song on the record. Some of these I'm sure we'll get through pretty quickly, so it's not going to be a drag. This is my 2B. It's your 2B. Jesus
This is
Christ.
my 2B.
This is my 5B.
Fucking cry. This is my fucking 12B.
My 5B. This is my 5B.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good. Yeah. Dude, fucking perfect opener. The spoken word thing to kind of set the stage for the rest of the record, as if someone is just talking to me. We're just having a conversation. It kind of like, it brings down those defenses. It kind of makes you kind of like, okay, this is going to be, let's see what happens with this one. And then it drops in and never really stops. Like, this riff is so fucking heavy. It's not even a fast riff, but it's so fucking heavy. Let me get this really rad drum beat behind it. And then, like, at some point, the bass comes in, like, the 2-minute mark, and I think it's the bass, because it sounds like what it sounds like, it's like a string bass put through, like, a bunch of, like, aggressive shit, just, like, fuzzy, fucking wah, and it's just this weird sound, and it lasts for, what, I don't know, 30, not even, like, 8 seconds, and then it cuts out, and then it comes back in a little bit later on. Like, this is wild, dude. We already see them kind of do, like, this jazz bebop thing because they have this overarching riff and they come back to it over and over and over. And it's not just like a chorus, but it's this riff that they interpolate throughout the entire song. So we're already kind of getting like this. And these guys never do jazz, but they you can tell like these guys like jazz and enjoy jazz
they
music.
like it, and they're inspired by it. They're certainly inspired by it. And there are songs too where they sample certain jazz beats and parts from like Ornette Coleman and things like that, and I think Art Blakey was another one as well. Also to preface this entire album or this whole episode is that this record was recorded in a very unusual way, a way that I've never heard of any band kind of doing it. But what they would essentially do is David Sandstrom would play a fucking groove, play a beat essentially, and then they would write a riff around that beat, and then they would kind of like splice it all together in a it was an old program called Soundscape. Well, they would record it all on tape, but then they would edit it on like a primitive, not even Pro Tools. Like, this is like a super primitive digital audio tool called Soundscape, which went defunct in 2001. Like, it really just goes to show like how primitive it was. And they had no sort of like grid on it, so there was no like timing mechanism on it, no metronome. So they were just kind of like doing their best, like matching up all the timing on it and then throwing it back on tape. So it's like they were editing everything digitally, but then throwing it back on tape.
It's so tedious.
It's extremely tedious and such an unusual way to make a record. But I think it made for something truly unique, because there are definitely moments throughout this record where you can hear like the mics cut out. Like, you'll just hear David just like hit like a couple like tom hits, and then you'll hear the hiss, and then the hiss cuts out completely, and then it's dead quiet for like a split second, and you'll hear weird little things like that all throughout this record. But then also the way these songs are structured, after you realize like how they made it, you can hear like, oh, this is where the groove is, this is where it cut and that cut and this cut and that cut. Like, you can hear how very, very choppy this record is. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, because it's so well done for what they had, especially at the time. Like, mad props to them. And
well, okay, so like the overarching, I guess for me, like the overarching theme of this record and Refused is to push punk into a new realm, into this new like, I don't know, psyche of what punk should be. Like, we've already done the angsty punk of 3-chord songs. Who gives a fuck? Let's move forward. Let's do something different. Let's do something crazy. Let's put art back in music. And I think like overall what this record is supposed to be is getting back to like the Bob Dylan of it, where we are now using art as a weapon of societal change. And they tried really, really hard. And I think they achieved every one of their goals.
Yeah.
It's just nobody was fucking ready for this shit when it came out. But I think ultimately what this record is making art a weapon again. And we saw all through the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, and they kind of just petered out a little bit. And we never got to see art being used as a weapon again, especially in the MTV era.
Yeah.
And this record rails against that, and it rails against...
I mean, you see it a bit in the 80s with bands like Dead Kennedys and stuff like that in some of the punk scene. In the 90s, obviously, you have Rage Against the Machine. But there was no
like
punk
when you're
band.
signed to a major label, like your message gets lost and nobody gives a fuck about you anyway.
Yeah.
And like with the Dead Kennedys, like that's probably like the exception to the rule for sure. Because that's it. Even Black Flag, man, they just nah.
Yeah. They had some cool things and cool messages. And,
too short-lived, and even Black Flag didn't push the envelope any further than any other hardcore punk band from the 80s.
Yeah.
Not like Refuse did. Like this is something an entirely different, and it's not just like hardcore punk, right? Like the Dead Kennedys even are just doing punk music. Now we're hitting like trip hop. Like a genre of music that like Portishead just dropped their fucking first record like 3 years prior to this. Like no one fucking knew like what trip hop was. And now like the Gorillaz have like cornered that market and are this huge multi-million-dollar thing. But like Refuse is kind of telling all the punkers like, hey, it's okay to have other kind of musics.
Especially something that's new, like that is very, very new. Not that electronic music hadn't been around for 10 years at least, but you know, it hadn't gotten to a popular level at that point.
For sure, not trip hop. Like EDM is just getting its foothold, right? Like we're not like EDM is not EDC at this point in the mid late 90s. Like no way, especially with the punk movement.
Yeah,
and like the only people that kind of not just the only, but like the people that really like further kind of societal change are like the punkers, and not necessarily punk in general, like the music specifically, but like punkers. Bob Dylan was a punker. Dude wrote songs that fucking he should not have been writing, and people hated him for it, but also people are like, holy fuck, man, you're right. This shit sucks and we need to change it. And like, you know, the hippies and stuff had their place or whatever, but like Refuse are kind of like that. They are saying, let's I focused really more so on the art of it all this week. And I thought like, man, it's been a long time since we have heard a band or any musical artist use their music as a weapon for societal, a weapon. And Rage tried to do it. Rage really did. And they are one of the greatest at it. But in like hindsight, it's like, fuck, man, you were still not one of us. Like you after your first record like blew up, you were no longer one of us. So therefore, you cannot be trusted.
And I mean, since we're going through every song, we'll get through it later. We'll get to it later in the record. But you know what it comes down to is like, are you going to give up your morals and what you believe in to make money? And that's kind of what we saw with Rage Against the Machine. Yeah, they were saying a lot of stuff that a lot of people weren't talking about society and capitalism and things like that. But then they eventually sold out. Yeah, they continued to talk about it, but at what cost? You know. Like, can you really believe them? Are they shills? What this and that? Why did they break up in 2001 or 2000? We've talked about the Rage rumors a lot or theories a lot, but with Refuse, you know, they're just as aggressive lyrically and the message that they're trying to convey. But the one thing that Refuse does differently is they talk about like, is it worth selling out for? You know, is it? I mean, yeah, we can make a shit ton of money and be comfortable for the rest of our lives, but is it worth it to give up our morals and values? But Rage, you never saw something like that. It was always like, fuck the man, fuck capitalists, fuck the fascists. But they eventually became kind of a part of that system itself. But Refuse never did. I mean, even to this day, yeah, they've signed in major labels and everything, but they've never reaped the success, the rewards that say Rage ever
because he never sacrificed their sound. Like Rage from the beginning, Rage is great. Like we love Rage.
Yeah.
But like, come on, dude. Like one Rage song sounds like them all.
But not only that, but with Rage, they were doing something that already existed. Like they
existed.
They weren't pushing the boundaries.
They didn't perfect it. They didn't do anything with it.
They just did it really fucking well.
Made it accessible and made it loud.
And did a great job.
Everyone was like, oh yeah, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. Like that's such an easy chant to get behind because everyone hates something.
Yeah.
Like that's not. It's good, but that's not revolutionary.
But also and then going back to Refuse, the way that they infused the electronic elements with the punk, with the hardcore, with the dance stuff, with the jazz, with everything else. You can't. I mean, Rage never did anything to this extent. Not this blatant and not this just kind of out of control, which is like very punk in itself, you know. But anyway, we're getting tied up in all this stuff, which we're
Dude,
probably going to repeat ourselves.
So fucking tied up in this.
So
stuff,
I'm going to try
so
to I'm going to try to moderate this the best I can because I know we're going to start repeating.
I have
ourselves a lot.
so many fucking notes on this. This is ridiculous.
So Worm of the Senses, the song title it comes from an Allen Ginsberg poem Howl. I don't know anything about it, but that's okay. But that's just a little fact about this song.
It's like the birth of the fucking beat generation. Like
Is
like
it?
in the
Okay.
50s, like leading into the 60s, it's like there would be not a Bob Dylan. There would be not get these guys like railing against 60s oppression if it wasn't for like this guy, and not just this guy specifically, but there's actually like he held like a rally in Frisco at some point with like the most popular of the beatnik kind of pre-beatnik kind of writers and poets did this thing. Even like Jerry Garcia said like, yeah, fucking changed my life. Like what they were saying was like, fuck yeah, I don't need to listen to these people because they're wrong and they're fucking terrible and they're the awful. So I don't know.
Okay.
Allen Ginsberg, insanely fucking important to poets and I think like lyricism leading into the 60s.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, in the end, I'm not familiar with this particular poem. I don't think you are either. But that's what it was inspired by.
I have read the poem though.
But you probably remember nothing from it.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember the gist of it. But you remember like the feel, because some of these fucking guys are like really well read, and like you read their poems and they're using fucking words like, what the fuck is that word even?
Get the dictionary out.
It's like a bunch of fucking Mr. Milcheks fucking reading poetry. Like, I don't know the fuck that word is, dude. Like, no one uses that shit anymore.
Gotta throw the Severance reference in there.
Crazy.
So lyrically, I this is just an anti-capitalist song talking about how the elite brainwash the people into thinking, they need to work, that they should be thankful for working, and be thankful that they're getting barely paid anything to survive, and how in the end we're just all sold a lie and we need to get out of this hellhole.
Yeah,
that's what I got from this. And what's changed, right? We're in 2025 right now. What the fuck has changed? You and I were literally talking about this an hour ago between the pods.
It's true.
So, anyway, so
he calls the like in the liner notes, he calls modern capitalism a slave trade.
I mean,
and it's like, damn, dude, like that still is the case right now.
Yeah, it's
nothing has changed.
Nothing. If anything, it's gotten a little bit worse.
It's gotten fucking worse.
Yeah. So let's get into liberation frequency. What does this sit for you on the?
It's my 3B.
3B, huh? This is my 8B. There we go. So let's get into it. What do you got on it?
Dude, like the opening riff here, like from the EDM shit from Worms, fucking great. They are fucking amazing at transitions, and like that's what makes this like a concept record, is these songs transition from each other into each other. And yeah, you're right. Like you could take these songs out on their own, and they would stand on their own. But you put them together, and the sum is now greater than the whole of its parts, or whatever the fuck that
whatever
quote
the
is.
quote is. Yeah.
Idiot, as Dwight would say. But I like the slow dramatic build here, dude. Dennis's high vocal parts and like the super like jazzy kind of riffs,
falsetto thing. Yeah.
Dude, the bass throws in with just the drums, like that's fucking wild. And then when it drops in fucking hard. Yeah. And I like that this song is just about contrast. Like there's no middle ground here. It's either loud and aggressive, or it's like soft, quiet, kind of like jazz influence kind of shit.
Yeah,
like that's it. That's all we need.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, and also like the progression of, or the way that Dennis changes his vocal delivery. I mean, yeah, he starts out with the falsetto, and then as you get several bars deep, his voice gets lower and lower, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit lower, a little bit more aggressive, and then as you go, the instruments are building, getting a little bit louder, doing kind of more their own thing, and then all of a sudden, like you said, it fucking drops into that chorus, huge fucking riff. It's fucking incredible.
But it just weren't.
But also, it's not just like this straight drop into the heavy part. There's like this little like guitar part that's kind of buried in the mix a little bit. But there's this little guitar lead part, and then it drops in. So it's like this. It's not just a straight transition drop in. There is something there to bridge the gap. So
I like this Rage Against the Machine comparison, because it's such a good comparison. Because Rage Against the Machine is such a great band, and they're so fun, and they such a cool message, but damn, they're so fucking like just one one facet of that fucking diamond. It's just like, ugh, right? Like, ugh.
Yeah, I know.
But here, like, we want the airwaves back. That should have caught on. Not quite as aggressively as, like, fuck you, what did you tell me? But, like, we want the airwaves back. Like, that's a fucking hook, dude.
It is.
Dig in. Like, why did that catch on? Because this is too aggressive. This is too crazy.
Yeah.
This album is too crazy.
And when you talk about the airwaves, I mean, you're talking about radio, you're talking about TV. I mean, the internet was very much in its infancy, but yeah, I mean, it's just like take the airwaves back because everything is controlled by big corporations, you know, with all the advertisements on both of those things, and lyrically he's talking about how these corporations are subtly controlling the masses through all this entertainment on TV and radio. And it's absolutely true because it's like, I mean, look at, I mean, I've never been to the UK, but, you know, BBC Radio, back in the 90s, they have like 5 radio channels or something like that. Skip is gonna hop on and like fucking correct and say, well, actually, gonna like push his glasses about actually, but yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like it was very, very controlled. Even here in the United States, it was controlled to an extent. Your top 40 radio and everything like that, and then TV over here in the States. You know, you had your CBS, NBC, ABC, and then eventually Fox down the road. But that's all you really had. And then eventually cable came up, or public access TV, which is local, very like hyper local TV. So I mean, it's all very, very controlled.
It's highly, highly regulated, and that's why a lot of bands like get their start on college radios because they're like, "Fuck it, if there's anywhere I can do whatever the fuck I want, it's college radio." But even then, you still can't do whatever the fuck you want. You're still bound by rules that are like governed by the federal government, passed down
FCC,
to local colleges. So
FCC.
Like you can never just say whatever the fuck you want. Which also like begs the question: like, should you be able to say whatever the fuck you want whenever you want to say it? I don't know. But you definitely cannot.
But when you think about it too, like how antiquated the whole FCC is, you know, even to this day, you can't say certain words on the major channels. Your CBS, NBC.
That's crazy. That's still
ABC,
crazy to
yeah.
me. Like you can't
FCC,
say fuck on like, you know, like
even
Simpsons can't say fuck.
Even on the radio, like the big radio stations, you still can't say it. The FCC controls all of that.
Well, that's crazy.
It makes no fucking sense.
Kids are getting fucking mowed down in school like on the daily now.
But you can't say asshole. But you can't say asshole.
I know.
But
so stupid.
You could say ass. You could say ass, but you can't say asshole.
Fucking idiots.
I mean, it's just the whole FCC is a giant pile of garbage.
And then like how did Loveline exist? Like some of the stuff they never like cussed on Loveline, but some of the stuff they talked about on Loveline was so sexually aggressive.
But the difference with that is with the FCC, after 10 p.m., you're allowed to play certain things. You're allowed to say certain things after 10 p.m.
I know on like Comedy Central and shit. That's when like South Park would say fuck and stuff like that. But this is radio.
It's the same thing. The FCC,
that's crazy though.
The FCC controls both of it.
But you have to pay for Comedy Central. You don't have to pay for radio. Radio is free for everybody.
True. It's free for everybody, yeah.
And like, how the fuck do you get around that? That's stupid.
None of it makes sense.
Money. It doesn't make sense. It makes no fucking sense to me.
Yeah. But also, K-Rock was owned by Clear Channel at the time. Well, it's still Clear Channel, but now it's iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia. But I mean, Clear Channel is one of like the biggest corporate, like, you know, media corporations in the United States.
They're also one of the biggest like fucking free speech suppressors of all time.
There's that too, yeah. Actually, no, no wait, they weren't Clear Channel. They were they were something else. There's like 2 major companies in the States. Clear Channel, iHeartMedia is one of them, and then the other one I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter. In the end, the FCC sucks, and government control like this, the government regulation sucks, and we need less government. We need a whole lot less government. We need a lot less federal government. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Damn, it sounds like you're trying to like secede from the union here. You want more states' rights.
That's what I am. I'm not going to say it. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's move on.
But I'm not.
Liberation frequency.
I'm not a Trump supporter. Anyway, just wanted to say that in case people listening are thinking that that's what I'm referring to. I'm not. Trump's an idiot. Well, he's not an idiot. He's a very intelligent man, but he's a fucking narcissistic asshole. So, anyway, let's move on true.
It's kind of funny. Like the more you talk about like politics in your mind and you say it,
I know.
the more you realize like, fuck, man, everything I'm saying, I don't like what I'm saying, but I don't dislike what I'm saying, right? Like the more you kind of talk about it, because as you speak, just being like a person that lives on this face of the earth with other human beings, you automatically just kind of like think like, damn, man, like somebody probably thinks I'm an asshole for saying this. And that's what you're thinking as you're saying these things, even though you may or may not believe what you're saying.
That was something, what you just said.
Because we do say things, and sometimes like you do mean the things that you say, but you're also like cognizant that like what you're saying might affect other people, be it personally or just, I don't know, politically or whatever the fuck it is.
Okay.
And like you don't want to be a dick to everybody, but at the same time, it's like, fuck, man. And also, like, there's also this air of I'm afraid that if I say the wrong thing, I'm going to get called out and my whole life's going to be fucking ruined. But then if Kanye West can wear fucking swastika necklaces, why can't we say whatever the fuck we want over here?
Which is a whole lot less worse than what he's doing. So anyway, next song.
Take the airways burn.
I do love that. It's
that part's so
it's
good.
It is really good. It's very kind of like let's all back each other. Let's all just kind of like this is like it's a very like protest, very kind of revolting song. I fucking love that. And
it's such like a light heart. Let's take the airways back. Yeah. Like almost like a folk song, right? It's so opposite of what this record is supposed to be.
Yes. All right, so let's get into the next song, "The Deadly Rhythm." Where does this one? Where does this one?
Where does it sit for you?
My number one.
This is my number one.
This is the best.
Fucking A.
This hands down is the best Refused song they've ever
something
done.
Right. Yeah. This song is incredible. Incredible. Yeah, that's it. Dude, it definitely has that like that jazzy vibe from the pacing and the drum beat. The latter part with the bass going wild is just that's jazz too, like a fucking T. And like he just rails. He rails and screams, and like his voice is absolutely fucking perfect on this. This is my favorite of him, like being what he is supposed to sound like. Because he didn't scream on the first record. It was just more of like a hardcore record, and you kind of got it on Discontent. But now it's full-fledged, like Dennis is perfect in the vocal lead right here. Yeah,
because you could hear the passion, you could hear the, ferocity of his delivery. It's absolutely incredible. And when I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of jazz influence on this record, and there's sampling of certain jazz drummers and songs. And this song in particular is probably this song and the last song, the Apollo Program is a Hoax, have the two biggest jazz influences on them, and this one more so with the drums. It starts out with the sample. I believe the sample comes from Charlie Parker. It's some Charlie Parker song, and then there's also some other not nuances, but samples or interpolations of an Art Blakey part in one of his songs. I don't remember exactly what it was, or some live performance he did. So there's a lot of jazz shit going on here. And David Sandstrom, I mean, dude, he's an incredible drummer. People don't talk about him enough. He has some incredible beats, incredible fills. He can be busy when it needs to be busy. He can hold back when he needs to hold back. Just truly incredible drummer, but he goes off on this fucking song. Absolutely goes off. And when you watch live videos of this song, he goes just as fucking crazy. He plays all the little jazz parts himself, and it's not just some sample. He does play that shit live. When I saw them live back in 2015 or 16, it was the same shit. When they played this song live, the crowd went fucking insane. And they all fucking nailed it. And you and I are seeing them next weekend. So they're going to play this song. Crazy. They're going to play this song. They haven't started any of their shows yet, so there's no set list yet. So I have no idea what they're going to play, but this has always been a staple in their song. For sure has to be on there. Yeah, it's always, ever since this album was made, this has always been like a staple on their set list, without a doubt. Like Deadly Rhythm is one of their most popular songs, and it is their greatest song. Like there's no question about it. And same with that riff too. What an incredible fucking riff. But that also, this riff also throws back to Discontent, their second record, which is extremely riff heavy, and that's what this song is too. It's extremely riff heavy. I fucking love it. It's incredible.
Yes, like there is definitely like Discontent here because it is riff heavy. It's aggressive. It's perfect screaming. It's a perfect hardcore song. But we also get like this little nuance too that they didn't do in their first two records. Like those little guitar leads under his screaming.
Yeah.
Like we never got those. And there's like 4 different fucking changes to the song where it changes 4 different times into 4 different songs, but still under the overarching theme of like the deadly rhythm. And that's in like the whole comparison to Ornette Coleman's The Shape of Jazzicum. Like the purpose of that record was to like push jazz into a new direction where like the bebop phase was coming up, and the bebop phase is all these musicians that are way too fucking good. I'm not even getting into it because I don't even fucking know what the fuck they're doing half the time. But like when the free jazz shit hit,
above our scope, right,
dude, even the free jazz stuff, man. But like that's what Ornette Coleman was doing, and the Shape of Jazzicum was like the start of that, and that's not even his most influential like free jazz record. What came after that is like the most influential free jazz record, but it's just a cool name, and it's kind of like the start of it. And so I get what's happening here. Like they are trying really hard to incorporate jazz elements without being jazz musicians, because like if we're just ranking like musicians on this record, the drumming's number 1.
Oh, hands down. Yeah. David Sandstrom is incredible.
He's far better than anybody else instrumental wise. Even if you consider Dennis' voice like an instrument, the drumming is top notch. It's hands the best thing that is on this record for sure. But you couple like that drumming with what Dennis is saying and kind of how he says it, dude, you have a fucking, I mean, obviously it's gonna be a perfect record, but yeah, you have a perfect record. Like it's insane. Yeah. It's crazy how good this drummer is.
Yeah, and you know, like you mentioned, you know, the album title, "The Shape of Punk to Come," is a play on "The Shape of Jazz to Come," which was a very influential record and all that kind of stuff. And this was meant to be that too. This was meant to be ahead of its time. "The Shape of Punk to Come." Literally, that's what this record was supposed to be. This song being called "The Deadly Rhythm," it's an homage to the Shape of Jazz to Come. So it has all the little jazz, you know, nuances and parts on this song, but it also is showing like this is the deadly rhythm. This is us killing what we know as punk, and then killing that, and then moving on to the next saga of this style of music, the next rhythm, the next, you know what I mean? I think this is like the transition. Like this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to push this genre into the brand new direction, but we're killing the old punk rock. Old hardcore. That's what that's what this song is to me. It's like, dude, it's an homage to the jazz stuff, and it's also saying we're killing the old, and this is the deadly rhythm that's killing the old, and now we're moving into the new. It's
like twofold, right? Like in conceptually in line with like the theme of the record, like the deadly rhythm is society and the machine that we've accepted as capitalism, and like he calls urbanism capitalism's seizure of our natural and human environment. So like he like really hates capitalism, and like, okay, so who doesn't? Okay, whatever. But then like musically, like The Shape of Punk to Come and the Ornette Coleman record. And again, like I'm not a jazz guy, but my partner in my record stores are fucking massive jazz guys. So he talks about jazz all the time, and I just kind of like osmosis get some of this information. But like the free jazz movement was like this different take on 50s like modal jazz. And now we're getting into this more expressionist, not necessarily like art as a weapon type of thing, but more like, here's what I want to fucking do. And the free jazz movement is fucking wild. And if anyone wants to listen, like, I've listened to it multiple times, and I just don't fucking get it. But Ornette Coleman's, I think, next record after The Shape of Jazzicum, it's called like Free Jazz and Improvisational Movement or some shit like that. But both channels are basically like two separate fucking bands doing their own thing at the same exact time. And it's, I mean, like, people tell me, and we've sold the record for hundreds of dollars. I think we sold the last one, like an original, for like $500, $600. And people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you have this. I'm like, dude, this is just noise, man. Like, I don't get this at all. This is so far above me. I don't fucking get this. So I'm going to make a note for you to listen to this. Yeah, because I actually really you have to do with headphones too, because it's just like, what the chaos. Fuck is this? Like two bands, not just like two lead guitarists, but two bands doing two completely different fucking things for 45 minutes is just far beyond the scope of my thing. But I think Refuse listened to it and like, holy fuck, that's really good. even if you don't like understand it or understand like the nuance to it, I think you understand like this is a different type of jazz. This is something that's pushing jazz into a different realm. And then we get like spiritual jazz, right? Then we get like Pharoah Sanders, and then we get like all this other kind of like things in jazz. Then we get like Miles Davis doing like Bitches Brew and incorporating like rock music. So would that stuff exist had it not been for Ornette Coleman and like The Shape of Jazz to come, starting this like, hey dude, jazz doesn't have to be Charlie Parker. Jazz doesn't have to be Dizzy Gillespie doing like the standards where like, you know, it's the head lead head type of thing where we have like a theme and then we kind of solo for a little bit, but we come back to the theme. Like, no, we knew where the fuck we want. And like, this is what this record is, because punk was stagnant in the 90s.
Yeah, it was.
And we love 90s punk. We really do.
Yeah. We love our blinks. We love everything.
But we know that shit was stagnant. We know like punk in the 90s is pretty much the same all over.
Yeah.
And Refuse here is coming in hot, dude. They came in so fucking hot. Like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
To even like be comparing this to like historic jazz records that you know, the bourgeoisie covets and collect and think is the greatest ever, but like everybody fucking likes this record.
That's true.
Anyway, Deadly Rhythm, my 1B.
Yeah. The best, their best song they've ever done.
Crazy. This song is crazy good. Like, it's so stupid.
Yep. So yeah, lyrically, real quick on this one, just how people are used by capitalists to work meaningless jobs to make others rich, fight wars, and line the pockets of politicians and corporations. That's really what this is. And once, like, you like going back to like the deadly rhythm of it all. It's like everything's just like, it's the day-to-day rhythm of just like people going to work, making other people more money and this and that. So it's just like, and then the fact that, you know, people going to war, it's just this deadly rhythm of just meaninglessness. Meaninglessness? Is that a
meaninglessness?
Is that a word? I don't know. Anyway. All right, let's get into Summer Holidays versus Punk Routine, the next song on the record. What does this one sit for you?
It's my 6B.
3B for me.
Okay, do it.
So let's get into it. What do you got on this song?
Take the lead. I think like if we
take the lead, but then you take the lead.
Well, that's right. Because I was gonna say, like, if we keep getting like really, really crazy on this, it's gonna be like a fucking 4 or 5 hour podcast.
I know. That's why I kind of want to run through these. Some kind of
maybe like top threes take the lead on.
Okay, so now we want to lay down ground rules. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, fuck it. I have a lot of notes for dude. I have a lot of notes for all of these.
I hit
this hard. I hit this hard.
I like the top threes. Let's just do the top threes because we're already almost an hour into this. So
we haven't even hit halfway through the record.
So Summer Holidays versus Punk Routine. This is my 3B. I love the kind of dueling guitar attack here on this song. You know, the dun, 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 dun. It kind of has that like funky thing going on, and then the other guitarist comes in with the down, so it's like dun 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 dun, just the very basic chord progression right there on top of it, and then it goes into that super solid riff that dun 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 dun. It's so weird. It's kind of off, not offbeat, but it's just so strange. I fucking love it.
That line too. Rather be forgotten than remember for giving in.
That's a
right.
Good
That's
line.
such like a. Remember that Neil Young and then Kurt Cobain used it. Like I'd rather fade away than what the fuck does he say?
I'd rather fade away than what is the line? Yeah.
I gotta look it up. Neil Young.
No. He said. Wait, no. Yeah, I don't remember what he said. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But this song, Summer Holidays versus Punk Routine. It's just this kind of upbeat, kind of almost pop punky kind of song. Something that at this point they had never done in their entire career because they were a hardcore band, you know. But this is extremely kind of positive, very, very, very positive. The most positive song maybe on the entire record, I would say, is this.
First of all, he says it's better to burn out than fade away.
Fade away. Okay, there you go.
But also like it's the lyrically and conceptually, the transition from gig band to like career band, I think is what's happening here. I mean, it's crazy because like when you read the lyrics online, you think like, oh, this is what this song is about, and then you read like his liner notes in the record, and like, oh, dude, you're crazy. Like that's not what you said here.
Yeah, I know. That's
so.
That's what that's like a lot of what I think about when you go to like Genius Lyrics, and not only like fan annotations, but also what like the band say about it, or like quotes about certain songs that the band says. The singer says, "Oh, this is what the song is about." It's like, dude, it's not about that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is it's a very simplified song, but you're oversimplifying it.
Yeah, and I think this is like just rooted in the idea of taking back art. And again, like I've said that earlier, and I think that one of the concepts of this is taking back the idea that you can use art as a weapon, because MTV fucking ruined that, dude. MTV ruined the idea that you can now use art as a weapon, and like we didn't see it again until like fucking like Public Enemy. We didn't see anybody use like their voice musically as a weapon to like change society, to change things that they do not like about it. Like, yes, like Rage was there, but like, man, Rage was such a fucking dorky band. They're such a goofball. Like, nobody took that shit seriously.
Yeah.
Like, nobody really did. Like, straight up. No,
true, yeah.
Like, Rage and Limp Bizkit, they're the fucking same band. Like, nobody took that shit seriously.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Or
so,
they,
like,
yeah, I'm not going to
that's
get into
that like that's what I think this song is about, is taking that back, and it plays into kind of like why Refuse even did this record, is to put like emotion and expression back into art. He'd rather be forgotten than remembered for doing something soulless just for MTV. And it's kind of funny because later on we'll talk about their only one hit, quote unquote, and it's like not about what it became. Anyway, whatever.
We'll
Summer
get into
Holiday,
the noise later,
6B.
Yeah, so this one lyrically, it's to me it's the conflict of, you know, as a band, do you want to sell out? I brought this up earlier in the episode, but do you want to be the band to where you sell out, but you lose some of your morals and what you believe in, but you want to be comfortable the rest of your life. You want to make some money, or do you want to stick by your morals and say fuck the system, fuck capitalism, and just really kind of struggled your whole life? That's what this is about. Summer Holidays versus Punk Routine. Do I want to sell out so I could just relax the rest of my life and be retired, or do I want to fucking grind the rest of my life and be a punker? So, and that's what it is. And musically, it goes along with that too. It's like it has this very kind of like pop punk feel to it, and that they definitely don't do. It's like this is like them kind of saying, well, we could make like a pop punk kind of tune, a poppy tune, and here it is. We could sell out. We could do, and this is what we have. This is like their most sellout song on the entire record.
It really is,
which is cool. Like, but it was done intentionally. It was like, we could do
it.
It.
Purposeful attempt at this.
But this is how we're going to criticize it. Like these are Dennis is saying this is what I have to say about this kind of music. Like we could easily sell out if we want to, but we choose not to. We don't want to play the games of these record labels. We don't want to be controlled by these record labels. So yeah, Summer Holidays versus Punk Routine.
I like that it's called Summer Holidays too, because like maybe the U.S. is the only country that calls it a vacation, right? We'd say summer vacation, like how we spent my summer vacation. But in the stupid European nations, they call it holiday.
Holiday.
I'm going on a holiday then. That's how all Europeans. That's how all Europeans sound to me.
An English accent.
I'm going on a holiday then. That's French and Europe and English at the same time.
We're going on a holiday, bruv.
You just say bruv at the end of it.
I say bruv at the end of everything.
I didn't think I could do a fucking German accent without just sounding like a Nazi.
Because I mean, yeah, you're right. I can't do a German accent unless I'm like yelling, like a.
I would just say like Scheisse and then like Sprechen say fucking some whatever summer holiday, and then even that's not a good accent at all.
No, that was terrible. Anyway, let's move on.
Damn, I can't do any accents.
Brutus poem number 5. This is really just an interlude. We don't really have to get into this too much. This is my 11B if I had to put it.
Damn, this is my 11B too.
There you go. Do you have anything?
Adams did have a beard.
You just want to kind of go over it. It's just an electronic interlude.
Just real quick, this is just I'm gonna, whatever you're saying is not important because I'm gonna say it over it.
Even though I haven't. even though you're just talking to yourself, because I have not said a word for like a good 20 seconds.
You said something, and then I just
did
started
not.
talking
No,
over
I did
it.
not.
You did. You said
I finished what I was saying, and then you started talking at like the last syllable of what I said. You started talking, but I was
didn't
done.
finish saying.
No,
what
it just
were
means you
saying.
weren't listening to what I was saying.
That is true too.
So, continue.
No, this is one of the ones where they're incorporating like trip hop sounds into their stuff here, and like that. This is a genre of music that has become like fucking wildly popular in the 2000s. And again, like Gorillaz like have that fucking stranglehold on that sound, and they make so much fucking money on it. And it's a cool sound, and the Gorillaz are dope, and I like trip hop. It's cool because we get like hardcore kids here introducing other hardcore kids to a new genre, and it doesn't have to just be like trip hop, but it's just something that like Refuse thought like this is kind of like the wave of the future, and like yeah. Like the wave of the future is going to be more electronic music because like computers are getting better and faster and more complex. So like obviously electronic music in music, electronic music
and
music is going to be the wave of the future. And again, like dude, Portishead they just released the record like 96 or 95 or whatever the fuck it was. And like that's like the birth of like what we all know as like trip hop, and like this is like 3 years later. That's crazy.
Yeah.
For the punkers. Not for the masses. This isn't for like the Billie Eilish fans. This is for the punkers. This is for the guys like who have been listening to Black Flag for the past fucking 10 years. And they're all pissed off because like Henry Rollins is doing a bunch of spoken word shit and they fucking hate it. And now here's Refuse, like carrying that torch and then adding like this? Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Although I would compare this more to Fugazi than I would anything 80s hardcore.
You still say Fugazi weird. I don't like how you say Fugazi.
What? How am I supposed to say it?
I don't. You just
Fugazi?
you say it weird.
Fugazi? Fugazi?
Oh, God.
Fugazi?
You say like Fugazi.
Fugazi. Like I'm Italian, eh?
Like Fugazi.
Fugazi.
Hey, you forget about it.
Fugazi. I'm
You know,
Italian,
like
eh? I'm Italian, all right?
See, Italians and English accents we can nail.
I don't know about nail, but we can at least.
Oh, we nail.
We can kind of make fun of it.
Because first of all fucking English people sound exactly the same. They all sound like
there's no accent within England. They all
Paul
sound
McCartney from the Beatles. Like no, do you sound like an idiot? And you either sound like
the worst.
You either sound like Cillian Murphy and Peaky Blinders, or you sound like the Queen's English. That's it.
I don't even think that's how you pronounce his name. I think it's Cillian Murphy.
Killian?
I think it's
like
Killian.
Like the Irish Red? It's not Cillian?
No, it's Killian. Why would it be Cillian?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Celtic
Maybe
or Celtic?
Yeah. Boston Celtics, baby.
Boston Celtics.
Anyway, let's move on. New Noise.
There we go.
Honestly, their most popular song they've ever put out. This is played on. This actually had some rotation on MTV.
And a video.
There was a video for it. Yeah.
Stupid video.
Yeah, I mean,
like why even make a video if it's going to be that?
It was the 90s. You just made a video.
Fucking dumb.
You just made a video.
That suck.
But yeah, I mean, this is their most popular song. This is that opening, that intro, which honestly, that guitar part plays through most of the entire fucking song. That just that really high guitar part, and then it just the build like over and over. It just builds, and then it drops into that electronic part. Makes no fucking sense. And then Dennis comes in and says, "Gonna scream." Drops into that huge ass fucking riff, heavy as hell. And just the ups and downs of this song, the highs and lows, the loud, quiet dynamics of this song. Yeah. It's truly, truly amazing.
What B is this for you?
My 2B.
Oh damn!
Yeah,
bro.
I mean,
this is my 5B.
It's what?
It's my 5B.
5B.
I think this is a fucking perfect song though. I think this intro. First of all, the intro's like a minute long, and it's just like perfect, like trip hop beat. We're taking from the Brutalist poem and we're like blending it into like a punk song, and it's a perfect fucking bridge because it merges back into the aggression, and his scream here is so fucking good, and this bridge, oh This bridge is so fucking good because it's a deliberate, like, fuck you to the antiquated music that these guys hate so much.
Also, I mean, this like in the verses too, the spoken word, like the way that Dennis does like the whole spoken word thing in the verse is very Fugazi. It keeps with like the hardcore aesthetic of it all. I fucking love it, man. The dynamics in this song is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Fucking A, dude. Just that I don't know. Like that we dance Russian,
the back and forth vocals there.
Damn,
so
dude,
good.
it's so good. It's so good. And like punk is such a long even still today, like punk is such a fashion sense, right? And it's and it's so gross. But like it serves a purpose because like the punk scene, like the punk fashion is supposed to be like anti-establishment. It's supposed to be against the grain of what like punk was supposed to be. And like Malcolm McLaren really fucked that, and the Sex Pistols really fucked that over. So like get the fuck out of here with the Sex Pistols being one of the greatest punk bands of all time. Sex Pistols made like punk fashion like a thing. It's so gross.
And they were easily the worst of the big three. Easily the worst of the big three.
Damn, dude. Just even be like put together by Malcolm McLaren is just, that guy's the worst. He's a fucking worst.
We don't need to go down that road.
I don't want to go down that road.
Also,
so lyrically, New Noise. I'm just gonna talk until you say something else.
I was gonna say something, but yeah, continue.
This is their rail against modern music. Like the New Noise goes hand in hand with like reclaiming music as art, something to be challenged lyrically, sonically. And he says like the New Noise is to become something more than the last poets of a useless generation. That's what he says in the fucking liner notes. And that's a cool fucking line, dude.
Yeah.
The New Noise is to become something more than the last poets of a useless generation. Like just to call the previous generation of punkers like fucking worthless. Like
I love it.
That's cool.
I like
that's
that
ballsy,
a lot. Yeah.
Man. That's
it is
ballsy.
so ballsy, but I love it.
That's punk, dude. That's punker. That's fuck
punk,
it.
Dude.
Everybody else sucks except for me.
Also,
the conceitedness of punk is what makes it great.
Yes, that's very, very true. So also lyrically, this is like a great extension of Summer Holidays too. I mean, goes hand in hand with it in that he's calling out the music industry and popular music in general. It's like, yeah, we can give up our morals to get in bed with a big record label corporation and have them tell us what to do, or we could continue being punkers and do whatever the fuck we want. This is just another criticism of all of that. You know, we can give up on all that, join the club of the big corporations, or not. So that's what it is. And then kind of ironically, this song becomes over the decades, it's become like a part of sporting events and major television,
crazy.
major TV shows and sporting events and things like that. So it's just the irony of it all is wild and all that. But in the end, these guys in the band have to give their consent to let the music be played. So it's like
somebody does, right? And like I can't imagine them hiring this huge firm to represent them. So yeah.
So it is them.
Probably them.
Yeah.
He's probably like going through his like fucking email or whatever it is, and he's saying, like, "Yeah, that's cool."
Is that your Swedish accent?
Nah, I'm not even gonna try. I don't know how the fuck. I don't know where the fuck Sweden is.
I don't know where the fuck Quail is.
For me, like Sweden and Netherlands should just become the same country.
You mean like Finland?
Yeah.
Like Sweden and Finland or Norway. All three of those countries are like all right next to each other. They should all just be one country.
They should just be one country.
Just be one entire giant
Whatever
country.
that big fucking wiener thing hanging down from the North Pole is. What country is that?
The North Pole wiener. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is Sweden, right? Like the main part of the wiener, I think is Sweden, and then everything else. I think the other two are Finland and Norway. I think. The fucking skip.
So yeah, it is Norway and Sweden, and is the big part of the wiener, and Finland is like kind of like the undertone,
the balls of it all.
It's a lengthy thing, but yeah.
Okay.
Forget about Denmark too. God forbid, fucking Denmark isn't grouped in together with all the other ones that are identical.
Skip's gonna get on and he's gonna say, "Well, you guys, Americans never know European geography. You know, we know everything about the United States. We know where every state is." It's like,
whereas like the UK could fit in California, like fuck off.
Fit in San Bernardino County.
I know, dude. Like, who cares, bro?
Like a county in California.
UK hasn't been relevant since fucking 1776.
That's true. That's a great point. The best point you made all night. Anyway,
this should be a fucking T-shirt,
it probably
dude.
is a T-shirt.
That should be like. I would make a fortune. I would make a fortune if that was a T-shirt out here in Arizona. That should be a fucking T-shirt.
England's been irrelevant since 1776.
Oh, that's so good. That's good.
And then just have George Washington's face on the front. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Just his face. That's it.
Choking whoever was it George the Third or some shit? That was a revolution. I don't fucking know. It was George. I don't know. Who cares? I think it was George. I think it was King George.
King George the fucking 120th because they're all fucking
inbred. Fucking his dad. Fucking his great dad.
Fucking all this incest
his granddad,
bullshit.
not great dad.
Anyway, wrapping up New Noise. When I had talked about earlier how this whole record was made, it was made off of grooves and just weird digital, just like very primitive digital editing and all that kind of stuff. You hear it the most on this song during that bridge where you hear David on the drums just like hitting those drums and you hear the hiss of the mic, but then immediately cuts out and then it's just dead silence, no hiss at all. And you could hear where they kind of moved the different tracks around because it's so elementary, it's so primitive, but it gives the song just like this kind of character, and I don't know, I love it. I really, really do love it.
It's a deliberate attempt to make a punk record back to basics punk.
Yeah.
But also simultaneously push the envelope and push the genre forward by like 10 years.
I would agree, yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Because honestly, too, most punk, hardcore, emo, post-hardcore, metalcore band you hear after this record, up through probably 2012, you hear a shit ton of Refused. Like, you hear Refused elements in all of these fucking bands. That, At the Drive-In, to Thursday, to Thrice, to Atreyu, to all these fucking bands, man. And across all these genres, you hear so much fucking Refused. And then you hear a lot of these guys in these bands talk about their influence. Every single one of them say Refused. Refused, I love The Shape of Punk to Come. I love Fanning the Flames. It's just this record is truly kind of revolutionary, but nobody fucking talks about it.
Yeah.
Ay.
And that's marketing. That's the band's imploding. There's a lot of faults in there.
But whatever. So let's move on. Refused Party Program. Where does that sit for you?
This is my 9B.
It's my 7B. Let's.
Yeah.
We can kind of touch upon it real quick. We don't have to go too deep because we're already pretty deep into this episode.
Yeah. It's a very straightforward hardcore song until we get to the electronic part, and then it's like something totally different as usual. It hangs around for so long that you don't even understand what's happening until it's dug in and becomes kind of invasive, and I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it starts out with that spoken word intro, which is very hardcore of its time, very Fugazi. Did I say that weird? Fugazi. Am I saying the food too?
You do say.
I think I'm saying the food too fast for you. Fugazi.
Yeah, I think they like Fugazi. Like people say Fugazi. You like Fugazi? You're more like Fugazi.
Fugazi. I'm
Fugazi.
very saying it very
You do sound like Italian. That's what you do.
Fugazi.
You like fucking Fugazi? You like Fugazi?
Fuck
out of here then.
Fuck out of here.
Gabagool and Fugazi are my two favorite fucking meats.
You got any Gabagool? God, that Will Sasso Sopranos skit is one of the funniest things ever. The Sopranos on PAX.
God, I miss Will Sasso.
God, Will Sasso is the best. Seriously, the best. Anyway, Refused Party Program. Yeah, spoken word intro. And then it goes into this straight hardcore song, very much of Fanning the Flames kind of style, very fast, quick. The actual gist of the song, the hardcore part of the song, is only like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it ends, and then you have that like minute and a half outro of the electronic thing going on. But then
goes on and on and on.
But then it gets like so loud, and if you're listening like with headphones in, like you could hear it like pan across and shit like that, and it gets to the point where like, oh my god, it digs in so much. You're like, I need to switch the song, but you can't switch it, and it's just, I don't know. It's a wild song.
It's wild. It's good.
Yeah, it's just more about, how much he hates capitalism and all that lyrically. So
he says capitalism is indeed organized crime.
Yeah.
And that's funny. But he also again, like the liner notes is what, like, I think he really wants people to read the liner notes, and like that's where a lot of his influence come from. But he quotes Tom Paine saying, "Let them call me a rebel and welcome. I feel no concern from it, but I should suffer the misery of devils were I to make a whore of my soul." Right? Meaning, like, if I'm going to sell out, then I'm going to be like the worst thing of all time. And I think that's also like what leads into the record and the concept. And also, like, I should read more, because when I read his stuff and I was like, oh, like, who is this guy? And like the Tom Paine thing, and like everything I read about Tom Paine, he's fucking dope, dude. Like, this English guy hated England so much, he told like the Americans, like, hey, dude, like, y'all, if you fight against England in the Revolutionary War, like, you're on God's side. God's got your back. Like, this guy convinced everybody to fight England because God had our back. Like, that's crazy. And this dude was so like educated that he knew that Americans would not understand like a well-written essay. So he dumbed down his language so that the common folk would read it and be like, oh yeah, that's good, dude. That's fucking dope.
I like that.
I should read more, but reading's dumb.
You
so
should
I'm not
read
going
more.
to.
You should read more. Did you get Mark Hoppus's memoir? Comes out April 8th.
I did not.
Amazon, baby. It's like $18. Get it. You can get the audiobook.
Is Mark reading it?
He is reading the audiobook.
Oh, that's tempting. Yeah, that's tempting.
He is reading the audiobook.
That's tempting. What the fuck does he possibly have to say that I want to hear?
It's over 400 pages.
Like, oh my God.
I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to...
What does he possibly have to say, though?
I can't wait to read how little he talks about Scott Raynor.
Yeah. Like, who... All he's going to talk about is like his it's probably going to be 350 pages of his battle with cancer.
You never know. Also,
I don't care.
So Tom posted a couple days ago that he posted a picture of the book of Mark's book, and then today Matt Skiba posted a picture of the book as well, saying, it's fucking great so far. I'm like 3-4 chapters in. It's great, and I kind of wondered, do you think Mark sent a book to Scott?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you really think he did? Like, considering how much they don't talk to Scott, do you think he found his address, found out where he is, and like fucking sent him a book?
When we talk about like when they talk about like we don't talk to Scott, I think it's probably a little hyperbolized. I think they probably do talk to Scott more than we think they talk to Scott.
Possibly, yeah.
I think Scott has a copy of this book, especially like post fucking cancer Mark, where Mark is just like. He's like, hey, dude, I need to say my fucking goodbyes. I need to say my sorries. Like, that's why Blink got back together, because Mark thought he was going to fucking die. Yeah, so I think Mark's camp, maybe even like I don't know, Sky or somebody reached out to Scott and was like, hey, dude, like, he's going to die. He wants to say sorry. And I do think Mark is the type of guy who was like, you know what? Even if I think that I am right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did this to you.
Yeah.
Man, we could go on.
I know.
We could do like an hour and a half.
I should not even.
Oh my God, I'm ready to go right now. Just about the book alone, I'm ready to go.
Dude, let's do a whole episode about the book. Like, let's wait a month after the book comes out so we could read it or listen to it, and we'll talk about it.
Do the book. We'll rank all the albums, and then we'll.
Fuck yeah, dude, that'd be so good. I'm so down to do that. We've never done it before. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Protest Song 68. From Refuse. I'm excited. I'm all hyped up right now.
That's so stupid. God, dude, Blink is just like...
yeah, I know.
It's like a drug.
I know. It's so fucking dumb.
It's like heroin,
Protest Song
crack.
68. Let's get into it. This is a slower jam. More. This is like a low banger for me. Like this is
10B for me.
Yeah, this is a low banger. So just to kind of touch upon it, it's a slower song. And I kind of equate this to like... a lot of At the Drive-In, like especially stuff off of Via, off of fucking In Casino Out, and even Relationship of Command, like the slower kind of more spoken word stuff. That's what I hear on this song. There's some great drum shit going on. Like David fucking kills it on the drums on this song, but it's still very much of the, just like it's cool. It's really great in the context of the record, but I'm never gonna really go back to it too often. So I don't know.
I wouldn't. I mean, like, this is a record that needs to be listened to front to back.
Yeah,
I wouldn't playlist this, nor would I go back to it. But I think it's a perfect transition between songs. I think it's a must have between the party program and then Refuse Your Fucking Dead. Because I don't know, we get so many parts of just one song. It slows down, gets a lot more electronic and soft in nature, and they're just fucking masters at the soft loud dynamic, which helps like drive both like points home. Like in like the ending guitar part is just fucking amazing. Just letting the mic run while I finish his riff up a little bit, and like you can come back in with a drum beat if you want. But really, like the ending of this song is just that. Like, I have a cool riff. Let me play it out, because when the drum comes back in, it's a little bit too loud for that part, I guess. And I guess that may be like going back into like them cutting up and recording. The recording process doesn't quite match like what this should be probably in the late 90s. But this is a punk record. Who gives a fuck? And this is like lyrically, this I don't know, doing part of their plan to put art back into the hands of the artists. That they're just going to do things because they fucking can. They're going to put rebellion and revolt back into music. And
yeah, it's him talking about like bringing danger back to music, like it was in the mid to late 60s. Even though, you know, in the end, a lot of that was kind of like, you know, we could talk about like the Doors and Grateful Dead and all the drug culture and all that kind of shit. A lot of that was.
Yeah, but they weren't there. We're dancing around the fact that like Bob Dylan, of course, because everybody fucking on this podcast hates Bob Dylan except for me. Bob Dylan is the one. True. It's true.
Yeah, technically it's true. Yeah.
It's fucking true, and it's crazy. Like the dude is the greatest songwriter in music history. Fucking like, period. Like there is nobody greater at writing songs than Bob Dylan, because that dude is just on a different fucking level. But yeah, like it's been so long since we've had, again, I'm going to say it again for the fourth time. It's been so long since we've heard somebody put like, I don't know, emotion and art into music. And music has been this the corporate thing for so fucking long. And in the 80s, like we saw this takeover, even in like the 70s, again, Malcolm McLaren, we saw like this takeover of music. And we talked about it in the other fucking podcast, or the other episode that we did when I talked about Adam and the Ants, where Malcolm McLaren took this guy's band and like promised them, hey, I will be your manager and I'll take less of a cut if you form this other band called Bow Wow Wow, and like I'll help you write music and I'll get you big gigs because I run this fucking shop called Sex, and it's aggressive and it's cool, but like people like to get, they fuck that, dude. That's stupid shit. For so long, music has been infiltrated by corporate. And like MTV was like simultaneously the greatest thing that's ever happened to music and the fucking worst thing that's ever happened to music. Like it's gross. And then, man, this goes into my final thoughts, but we're not there yet. But god damn, dude, like music is just garbage sometimes.
It is. It really is.
It's so, even when it's good, it's still fucking garbage. Ugh.
All right. So,
Link?
so what do we have next? The
Refuse is fucking dead.
Yeah. So this is my 4B.
This is my 8B.
Okay. So we can kind of, I mean, we talked about our top threes at this point, so we can just kind of run through these last things. And because, I mean, we're almost an hour and a half deep, but, I mean, so, you know, musically, you know, this has that kind of heavy, kind of sludge kind of riff, a lot of fuzz thrown in there as well. And then, so you get that for a little while, maybe like a good 30, 40 seconds. And then it goes into that fucking really cool, that chicka chicka kind of riff. And then that,
it's like a thrash little thing that he's got going on, but not fast.
Yeah. Like maybe a quarter of the speed of a normal thrash song, but it's there. And then it drops into that fucking, that high kind of, that high lead, the high guitar lead.
That reminded me of like early Offspring fucking Middle Eastern kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
not quite like the dee but like earlier than that. Because Offspring was still doing that before that, but that's kind of mid '90s.
That kind of like sitar, kind of Indian kind of sounding thing. Yeah, okay, I could hear that. But I fucking love that lead riff. I fucking love it.
It's good.
And he plays it so much throughout this song. Like he plays those 2-3 riffs through the entire fucking song, and he plays them like, I don't know, just the structure of the song is just so basic, but
it's all over.
Because
we get so many we get so many breaks, right?
I guess
like we get a break that's like it's just drums and guitar, or we get like a break that's just guitar. So like we get a lot of different things that again in that kind of like jazz realm where it's like let's start with this concept, with this thematic like melody, and we'll end with it, but in the middle part we'll do whatever the fuck we want to do. And that kind of like that coincides with the free jazz thing conceptually. It's obviously really dumbed down, but yeah, dude, there's weird breaks in this.
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
a part
too,
where it's just drums and fucking guitar for like almost a
sick,
minute.
Though. It's pretty sick though.
Like these guys are not afraid to fucking just like, hey, that was a cool thing. Let's do that again for 45 seconds, or like most punk bands would do it for like 6 seconds.
Yeah,
yeah. Like these guys don't give a fuck. They don't care.
Okay, yeah, it's fucking great. In the end, lyrically, this is one that I had a kind of hard time, trying to figure out. I think it was about being young, feeling like you could change the world and all its corruption. That's kind of what I feel it was like. But then in the end, you realize as you get a little bit older, you realize like you have no power. Like you can't change anything. Nothing's gonna change. I mean, the corporations and all that shit are gonna win over every single time. You're nothing. So that's like, what I have lyrically on this one.
In like the liner notes, because I agree, I don't know what the fuck he was talking about.
This is the toughest one for me to kind of.
And it's like the most important fucking one too, like of their whole career. But like, I agree. Like lyrically, when you read just excerpts of it, like I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. On the liner notes, he mentions something about receiving like an answering machine message. I guess you don't receive an answering machine. Somebody called him and left a message on his answering machine. Mm-hmm. And in that message, it said like, "Refuse is fucking dead." And it was some like, some what do you call him? Journalist. And that like ignited his passion to a whole nother level. And so I think this song, because of that, is like this huge fuck you to the haters and non-believers.
I like it.
And I think that carried them. Like that should have been their statement from the beginning, right? Refuse are fucking dead. Like that, I don't know. I'll get more into that.
Just more like the fuck you to society, the fuck you to the business and all that. Which
these guys had no chance.
Yeah, no, none at all. All right, so let's get into The Shape of Punk to Come next on the list here. Where does this one sit for you?
It's 4B.
4B. Where does this one sit for me? 6B.
6B. That's good. That's fine.
Let's get into it. Faster song, has that kind of overly kind of upbeat disco kind of beat, overly fast disco beat, I should say. Great fucking riff. When it drops in, it hits super fucking hard, especially in the mix. Like that big kind of those big power chords hit really fucking hard in the mix. This is an absolutely great song.
There's a lot of things that are loud, right? So like the loud bell ride bell hit that he's got going on, that ding 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 ding, like he's trying to do a jazz thing, and he can do it, but he can't. I mean, he can't do it like the best of all the jazz like drummers of all time. But there's a little break in the middle where you get that free jazz pop up, and that's a cool nod. Like it's jazz inspired punk, but it's not jazz.
Yeah,
like the drummer's really really good. And I don't want to like knock him down a peg by saying he's not a jazz drummer, because he's not a jazz drummer. He's a fucking punk drummer who just happens to like jazz music. And that's exactly what he does on this song.
But see, that's another thing too. With a song like this, you don't want a jazz drummer. You want somebody who pays homage to the jazz drummers, who throws in the flourishes and things like that. You don't want Ginger Baker on here. You don't want fucking Art Blakey. You don't want. There's only two jazz drummers I could think of off the top of my
I don't
head.
want anybody. I don't want anybody like overly crazy to where they're doing something Danny Carey versus like the rest of Tool, where it's obnoxious and fucking complicated. But that's not what this band is about. That's not what this song is about. That's not what this record is about. That's not what any of this is about. And I like that he is showing us like, hey, dude, I do like jazz, and I'm trying my best here, and this is the best I got, and I fucking love it.
I do too.
That's all I ask.
And in the end, it's a pretty straightforward song too. I think it's just a truly fantastic song. Lyrically, it's about being young, finding a new scene with some. Dude, why do you have all those lines? You have so many lines in those in the glass. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, Jeff is just holding up his glass, and there's just so much fucking lime.
So many limes.
There's like probably 7 or 8 limes in that fucking glass. It's disgusting.
1, 2. I mean, usually it's a lime per beer, but I bought some limes from fucking Alberts. I hate going to Albertsons because it's expensive and they have shit fucking produce. So I've been doubling up a little bit on the limes.
Okay, all right.
So while usually normally like 1 lime would equal a beer, I have not had fucking 8 beers.
All right.
I've had 5.
You've had 5 beers?
Plus 5 including the fucking...
I think, yeah, I've had 5 beers too. Plus the Corona Familiar.
Plus
There
Big
you go.
Daddy. I can go fuck.
So lyrically on The Shape of Punk to Come, this is kind of feel like this is kind of a nostalgic song for him. He's talking about being young, finding the punk scene, the hardcore scene, with other like-minded kids and people, and everybody they bond over something, over this kind of music, and just how freeing and incredible that feels. That's what this song is to me, at least.
Yeah, no, that's... I definitely think this song is about like Refuse telling us that the punk scene isn't just changing, but it's a necessary change. And again, art can be used as a weapon to fight change. And we've seen that in decades prior, but we didn't see it a whole lot in 90s punk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going with here. That's what I got going on.
Yeah. So 2 songs left. Tannhauser Derive is the next song, 8 minutes long. It's another kind of slower song. It reminds me, like I mentioned at the drive-in earlier, very kind of mid-tempo, slower song. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of quiet, loud moments. There's a lot of string instruments on this song as well. I don't want to break it down too much because it's a very lower tier lower tier song. Jesus Christ. Lower tier beer?
Idiot.
God damn, I'm an idiot.
What B is this?
Fuck, I don't even remember. I think this is like my 9B. Let me
my 7B.
10B, yeah. 10B. So yeah, I don't know. This is it's fine. What do you have on this one? I don't have that many notes written on it because
I have the most notes on this one.
Do you really?
I do.
Okay, let's get into it.
I do. Dude, this song rips.
Really?
This is my 7B.
But it's so low. It's so mid-tier for you.
But it's
such a mid-tier beer for you.
Off the cuff, the Tannhauser, all I could think of was Marty Funkhauser whenever I read that, and it bothered me, and I could never. So I wanted to put that into your mind now, just so hopefully whenever you see that, you will think of that also, because it's annoying and funny. But it starts out with the strings, right? Like you
don't even like fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm.
First of all, buddy boy, I've been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm since you were still suckling your mother's teat, okay? I knew all about Curb Your Enthusiasm before Larry David knew about Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Debatable.
So, I will move on.
Continue.
It starts off with strings, and we slowly add instruments. We get drums, guitars, playing some minor chords, more strings, just everyone working together to build so much tension.
Yeah.
We get some parts that are like dead fucking quiet, right? Just absolute silence. And they're so deliberate in their crafting, like you're made to feel uneasy. And you just know something is going to drop into something chaotic because that's what Refuse do. And I mean, this is like prog metal hardcore shit to the fucking max. And it's weird because of its pacing, because you don't ever get that drop.
Yeah.
You don't ever get that full on relief.
True.
Even though we get like the aggressive parts after the soft parts, like that's still in the crescendo phase of this song. It's still building to something. But I see it more like this song is constantly leading us to this or leading us on this journey to which the destination we never reached. And it plays into the concept of like people will see the journey differently. That's what this whole thing is about. And like every road becomes a thrill because it can be type of thing. And that's part of the liner notes and part of like the quotes that he's going along with the Tannhauser / derivé. How do you say that in French? I don't fucking know. I don't speak stupid.
Derivé. Yeah, I would assume. I mean, I don't know. I don't know accents.
I don't speak loser. That's fucked up.
Pee pee poo poo.
Pee pee poo poo wee wee. See, that's always okay. That's like making fun of the French is always okay. But God forbid you make fun of other ethnicities. Is French an ethnicity?
I mean, it's a country. This is like we're getting into something we probably shouldn't get into, but
because we're just gonna make fun of somebody and somebody's gonna get mad. It's probably honestly the guy that's gonna get mad is that fucking 311 dude. He's gonna be like, oh, you fucking God, that guy's annoying. I don't want to get into it. It's just gonna be mad.
the guy who bitched about us fucking doing 311 when we hate them so much, and I hate Stain so much, so we did Stain just to spite him. We did the Stained episode, yeah.
And it was the worst episode we've ever done.
We're not talking about the guy who reached out and wanted us to do 311 because he's been super cool about it and he really likes our pod. So we're not talking about.
I do like that guy because that guy also like at least acknowledges like, yeah, you're right. Like most of their shit is fucking identical, but like I love him.
He did DM us after we did the episode and he's like, yeah, I kind of thought you guys would get hate and you know I get it, but I still love him. It's like I'm just glad you guys did it.
That's exactly like our rebuttal to like our favorite bands, right? Like like I understand like most of X band sounds the same, but like I still love them.
I love Korn. I know a lot of people hate that band. I could probably talk more shit about Korn than most people can talk shit about Korn, but I still fucking love them.
I mean, I talk all shit about Korn.
I know you do. Well, you pretend, you act. It's fine. Anyway, back to Tannhauser.
So like there's two parts of this song, right? Like I'm going to lyrics here. The Tannhauser, the Marty Tannhauser part of it, the opera. See, now it's funny, right?
And, well, I mean, Marty Funkhauser is the best character in all of Curb Your Enthusiasm. He is the best character. He is the funniest character.
Not.
He's so
he's not
funny. Do you remember the episode?
He's not even top fucking 5.
The episode. Jesus Christ.
He's not more funny than fucking Leah. He's not more funny than Larry.
He's way funnier than Leah.
He's not more funny than Jeff. He's not more funny than Susie.
You can make the.
Have you seen this show?
I've seen it more than you. Marty Funkhauser is one of the funniest characters on that whole show, if not the funniest.
That's crazy.
That whole argument that he has with Larry in Larry's kitchen when he tells Larry that he can't be friends with him anymore because of his new girlfriend. And then they try to have the last word with each other. And then they get in that little argument about having the last word. He's like, you never fucking give up. Like, what? Like, you don't have to have the last word. And then the other one does the last word. And then on his way out, Marty, like, kind of trips over the little, like, basket or something like that. Oh, it's
exactly. If you don't have to have the last word, then you don't have to talk. You don't have to keep talking.
Oh, my God. That show is unreal. It's so fucking funny.
It's a good show. It's second best thing Larry did.
It's better than Seinfeld. Curb is better than Seinfeld.
I'm gonna kick you out of this fucking chat in about 5 fucking seconds.
It really is though.
Right now.
Like I'm not even joking. Like honestly,
I know you're not joking. That's the fucking
better
problem.
Than Seinfeld.
That's
I'm not
the
trolling.
fucking problem.
It's better than Seinfeld.
It's because you've never seen Seinfeld. That's
continue on with Tannhauser. Marty.
Two parts of this song. The Marty Tannhauser opera part, right? I think it's based on like an old fucking tale of a knight who seeks absolution because he was like having sex with fucking Venus, the Roman goddess of sex. Like, cool, big surprise. And the other part of it is like the derivé, which like that word just means to like walk through an environment in such an impromptu way that you see it differently, right? That's all that means. So like what I saw that I was just like drunk, like you walk through the same town, just drunk and like, oh yeah, I see this differently now. But like these both make sense. Because the state of punk and society is in need of absolution because of like the whoring it lent itself out to MTV, to VH1, to big corporations on the macro scale, right? We're talking about music and then also society and corporations in the 90s. the Venus, I guess, if we're going in line of lore, whoring yourself out to Venus. And then also like the second part is how do we get fresh eyes on like an old genre? Like how do we revitalize this shit? The derivé, boo boo wee wee, like the derivé. That's how we do it. Is we do the same thing over and over, but just in a different way. Like fuck it, today we're supposed to do this. Let's do this. See how it works. Do it.
Do it, Raleigh. Yeah,
that's what I like about this record and this song and this band.
I like it too. I like it too. I really don't have that much written about it, so I can't add too much to it. But
it's just fucking cool, man. It's just cool. Like they're taking two concepts and throwing it together. Where it's like, yes, here is why we are fucked. Is because everyone got into bed with MTV, and MTV just fucking said, "Hey, I'll promote your video and I'll make you millionaires, and I will make all your wildest fantasies come true." Because you start to be a band because you want to make some money and make a living, and then like dangle a little bit more money in front of you, dangle a little bit more money in front of you, and like that's I don't blame people for that. That's normal human action when someone dangles a fuck ton of money in front of you. Like, yes, I want that money. I want to work less at Target and I want to work more as a musician and make money. But like at some point along the way, like the musicians make this much money and then like record labels make this much money, right? Like that's where the disparity came into play. And that wasn't like specific to the 90s. That's been happening since the fucking 60s. And again, Bob Dylan railed against that. That's fine though. He's not a good songwriter. But anyway, we can move on to the Apollo program as a hoax. Bob Dylan's the greatest songwriter of all fucking time.
Settle down. I'm going to have to hose you down.
I will not.
If you don't stop. So
settle up.
The Apollo program was a hoax is the last song on this record. It's about a 4-minute song. The closer here, it has the stand-up
bass. It's my 12B.
Yeah, it's my 12B as well. But I still really like it. I mean, it's still a great song. Here. Yeah, it has to be.
It's the most punk fucking ending they could have done.
I think it's a perfect ending to this entire record. The acoustic stand-up bass, that being played with the acoustic guitar on top of it. The vocals are more like kind of not a spoken word, but they're kind of buried in the mix a little bit, and it just kind of drones along, and it's sad, it's melancholy. Man, I think this is just an absolute killer closer to the entire record. Yeah, it's my least favorite song, but it's the perfect closer for this. So
good, yeah.
It's finally about stepping up and starting the revolution too.
If you have anything else, then say it, because when I say what I think about this song, it's going to lead into my final thoughts.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do that. Your final thoughts. We'll do my final thoughts. Rate the record based off of our world-famous 3-point rating system, where 3 is a perfect album, 2 is a good album you're going to continue to listen to, 1 is a bad album, but give it a shot, and 0 is the worst thing you've ever heard. So what do you got? Go.
So yeah, the Apollo program was a hoax. That's topical, right? Like we all know exactly what he is talking about here. Not specific to the Apollo program, as flat earthers would lead you to believe, but it's challenging expectations. It's I have a flat earth friend, and is he your friend too?
I would say he's a friend. I would say he's a friend. Yeah,
gotcha.
I've hung out with him.
He's a really nice guy.
He's
I trust
extremely
him.
Nice. Yeah,
I trust him with my family. I trust him, but he thinks the earth is flat. And I think that's wild, but we do have this conversation all the time. And if it came out that the earth was flat, like, would that change my day to day? I don't think so. I don't really give a fuck if it's flat or not. Yeah. I don't do it. Does it cost me money? Like, no. Okay. Then I don't really give a fuck if it's flat or not.
Yeah.
So anyway,
continue.
The Apollo program was a hoax. 12B. Ultimately, this is just about like the revolution in both music and society. And again, the liner notes. At some point, you need to read them liner notes, okay?
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't even think of pulling out the vinyl. I did
did
pull out the vinyl
and
listen to it, but I didn't actually listen to the...
That's okay. Well,
I listened to the vinyl, but I didn't read...
You don't listen to the liner notes. You read the liner notes.
I literally just corrected myself.
That's okay. So, like, at some point, you need to read those liner notes because they are so pretentious. But as he says... This is going to transition to the final thoughts here.
You've been transitioning for a while now, so
hold on there, dude.
The joke, dude.
Hold on there, dude. As he says in the liner notes. That's.
Are you gonna get to it? Or are you? What, you're still going. You're still kind of.
I'm still cum.
I'm so toasty right now.
Yeah, same. As he says in the liner notes, he says, "Fight fire," and this is like one of the last things that he says too. It's like I think this might be the last line before he signs off. He says, "Fight fire with fire, and everything will burn." And throughout like the liner notes, all he talks about is like, dude, we are done talking. We are done whatever. Like you've showed your hands. We've showed our hands. We are done. It's time for a, and it's like, it's so militant that it makes like Zach De La Roca look, am I boring you?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
It's so militant that it makes Zach De La Roca look like a choir boy. Like that's a crazy last line. Fight fire with fire and everything will burn. So I think, in conclusion, I think The Shape of Punk to Come is not just like a perfect record, which I think this is a perfect record. I think this might be one of the most. See, that's Australian.
I know.
Did you hear me say Australian right there too? Australian.
I kind of went Australian too when I said yeah. Okay, continue.
It's Australian.
It's Australian, mate.
This might be one of the most important punk records of all time. And like just comparing it to like Black Flag. What the fuck did Black Flag do for punk? Like who cares, dude? If you erase Black Flag from existence, like we would still have the Circle Jerks, we'd still have Descendants, we'd still have fucking late 70s punk. Like nothing would change. Like who cares? Like even any of the people that like are foundational like punk bands, like who cares? They're great. They're iconic, but they're not going to push the envelope the way Refuse did. And Refuse pushed the envelope in a way that no one even realizes still to this day. I think Refuse is as important to punk music as fucking, even though I don't like him, the Stooges, like Iggy Pop. I think Refuse is as important to punk music as like the Clash. I think Refuse is important to punk music as anybody. Who is the greatest punk band of all time? Refuse is as important.
Agreed.
This record is crazy, crazy important. This record is putting, again, for like the 15th time, this record is putting art like back in the hands of the artists as a weapon, as a tool to like help, to change society, to shape society in the way that like music should. Music should be like inherently liberal. It should be inherently leftist. It should be inherently radical. Like that's what music should fucking be. That's what all art should be.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to make like a living off of it because that's not an expectation. It should be I don't know. This is crazy. This is a wild record. I'm toasty. I cannot believe I fell this hard into this record. This record is so much more important than people. Well, hold on there, dude. This record is so much more important than people can possibly fucking imagine. You strike me down, I will become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. That's what Darth Vader said to Wayne Gretzky one time. This is obviously a 3 out of 3. So
3 out of 3. All right.
That.
Yeah.
But
Final.
it's bigger than a 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
Like
final thoughts.
15 out of 3.
Final thoughts with me. I think this record is truly underrated. I agree with you that this should go down as one of the most important, not only punk records, but rock records of all time. Yeah, hands down. I mean, they were doing shit in 90, because this record was recorded in 97, but released in late 98. And they were doing shit on here that bands kind of were dabbling with, but not to this extent and not nearly as good as this band. And they were really creating the shape of punk to come. Like, everything that they were talking about on this record was true and eventually became true. You know what I mean? It's just like so many, like countless numbers of bands were influenced by this record, both musically, lyrically, in every which way. Stylistically, they were influenced by this band, and this band doesn't get nearly as enough credit. And I agree with you. Black Flag, I love Black Flag, but they weren't doing anything that different. Yeah. I mean, Greg Ginn was doing some weird, jazzy, stupid bullshit, but he was a shitty fucking guitar player. He's a terrible fucking guitar player. He was just ballsy enough to do something that he he has no right doing. Like, or you know what I mean? It's just like,
and it was just early on.
It was early on. It's just like, who gives a
At
fuck?
best.
You know what I mean? Like,
Who gives a fuck?
love Black Flag, but they weren't doing anything revolutionary. Even Dead Kennedys, like Dead Kennedy, like political punk music peaked at Dead Kennedys, and it's never gotten better since. It's only gone downhill since Dead Kennedys.
Except for Refused.
Yeah, I would agree with you. They just weren't. They weren't as abrasive as Jello and Dead Kennedys were, but in the end, yeah, I think this band, this record especially, doesn't get nearly as much credit as it deserves, and it's such a shame because I mean it's late '90s and the punk purists think anything post 1980 is like shit punk. It's like, fuck off, motherfuckers. You're so fucking dumb. You think fucking Ramones and Sex Pistols are good? Fuck off.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just fucking stupid. Stupid
Crazy.
people. But whatever. This record is truly fantastic. Way ahead of its time. Like a good 5 years ahead of its time.
It's like 15 years ahead of its time.
In some cases, yeah. So yeah, Refused, The Shape of Punk to Come. Perfect 3 out of 3. I mean, I don't do it often.
Truly.
I don't do it often, yeah.
This is 15 years ahead of its time. We get into the Bush administration in the 2000s and everybody and their fucking mother thinks it's so fun and easy to write about Bush and how horrible Bush is. Refused never called anybody out specifically. They called out ideas and concepts and fucking things that have been politics that have been happening for 20, 30, 40, 100 years prior. It's so easy just to say, I fucking hate Trump. I hate Bush. I hate whoever. Yeah. That's such an easy thing to do. That's a cop-out. That's shitty writing. That's low-hanging fruit.
When it comes to, popular music, popular rock music, the only bands of the early 2000s that were coming close to it were, obviously, Rage, who had already died out at that point. But the only other band that had really done anything on a popular standpoint would have been System of a Down. They were the only other band, huge, big rock band that we're talking about these types of things. But also when so the first System album came out in 99, a year after this record came out, and System, that they built their whole, I would say their whole 6-year career. Cause honestly, they were only really
nothing.
What, five albums in 6 years, which is a lot of fucking music, a lot of fucking records, but 5 albums in 6 years and their whole career is that. Not a knock to them, but it's just
they focus so hyper specific on specific topics.
Yeah.
Whereas Refuse are trying to I don't know, incite passion into a generation. Right? They're not just talking to a specific type of person or a demographic or an age group. They're talking to anybody that has felt oppressed by an oppressor. That's fucking true. Crazy. That's something that you do not see.
And not only
ever.
Not only that, but Refused are going out, or not going after, but the way that Dennis was writing lyrics on this record, he was going after not a marginalized group, but just people in just society and people in general. But when you look at Rage and you look at System of a Down, they're in their songs, they're speaking of marginalized people, whether it's black people, Hispanic people, poor people, or
especially Americans. Rage is speaking to Americans. That was
and these guys
specific.
And these guys are Americans. Yeah, I get it. System of a Down. Those guys they have Armenian roots, but in the end, they're still Americans. They all grew up in the LA County area.
Yeah.
But yeah. But these guys are from fucking Sweden, one of the safest countries in the entire fucking world. These guys
never once mentioned any specific American politics.
They never did, but they spoke to something that was just so. It's
art, dude.
Yeah.
I think they cared about art more than anything else, and I think that heralds back to Bob Dylan, and let's just put more weapons back into what artists say and what they do and how they do things, and that's something that's fucking lost 100% today.
It is.
It's gone. It has not been a thing since Rage has stopped being a band.
Yeah. Fuck, man. All right, so we're good. We're good with this episode.
Sad.
We're so far deep into this.
It's good.
So yeah, you and I are going to see Refuse next weekend. out in Arizona. God, you have so many fucking limes in there.
So many limes.
I think there's going to be there might be one other episode between now and after we see them, but we'll get back to you, let you know about, the review show that we went to, and hopefully it's going to be fucking great. We'll see.
It'd be fun.
We will see. So,
if there's an opposite of scurvy, that's what I have.
That's what you have, the opposite of scurvy. Citrus fucking overload. All right. So thank you all for listening. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. And that's it. That's all.
Let's take the airways back.